All right, over to you, Chair.
We've got a preamble. Richie?
Alrighty. So everyone on the phone and attending via Zoom from the public is in listening only mode. During the public comment period, please enter your comment in the chat and it will be read into the record. Include your full name and the magisterial district in which you reside. And if you don't know your magisterial district, please provide a general location of your home, business, street address. We will run through the chat comments first and then take comments by phone. For those on the phone, please use *9 to indicate you'd like to make a public comment. We will ask you to provide your full name and magisterial district or general location of your home or business, and then allow up to 3 minutes for your comment. Because of the continuation of the COVID-19 pandemic and the limitations on group gatherings imposed by the governor's executive orders, this meeting is held by electronic communication means on the Zoom platform. It is authorized by the county's April 15th, June 17th, and September 2nd continuity of government ordinances. This authority's resolution of April 22nd and the Virginia statute signed into law on April 24th, all permitting this authority to meet electronically to discuss and transact business necessary to continue its operations. Public has real-time audiovisual access to this meeting over Zoom and real-time audio access over telephone. Both is provided in the lawfully posted meeting notice. Public's always invited to send questions, comments, and suggestions to the authority through the county's Information Technology Office. This meeting is being recorded and will be made available on the county's website. So with that, I'll go ahead and call roll. Let's see, Bucky Walsh.
I am here.
All right, and are you at home in Albemarle County?
Yes, I am here at home in Albemarle County.
All right, Trevor Henry.
I am present at home in Albemarle County.
Bill Fritz.
At my home in Charlottesville.
Supervisor Price.
Present at home at my house in the Scottsville Magisterial District.
Supervisor Palmer.
I'm at home in Albemarle County, here.
And Waldo Jakewith.
Attending from home in Stony Point.
All right. So that constitutes a quorum.
Very good. Thank you, Richie. So, I think our first item of business after getting a quorum and calling this meeting order is approval of the agenda. I would ask if everyone has received or has examined the most recent agenda, the one that was distributed in email ended with item 8, adjourn. The one that is posted on our website has item 8 as a closed session, and then we go to adjourn. So are we all aware of that? So we're voting on the right thing. Is this agenda acceptable? Let me run through the names real quick. Liz?
Yes.
Donna?
Aye.
Waldo?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes aye as well. So that takes us to brief announcements by authority members. Does anyone have any announcements they'd like to make?
I have a, not necessarily an announcement, but I think it would fall into this category of, I would like to tee up a future agenda item in a discussion around county staff support and needs related to the broadband program in the county. You know, my role in the county executive office includes management of a portfolio. Information technology is part of that portfolio. Mike is a direct report, our chief administration officer, who's doing fantastic work for the authority. There's a pretty significant workload that I'm seeing that is being handled by Mike and others on staff. And I just want to let the board know that Mike and I are in conversations on how better align resources to support that work, and that we will be bringing a conversation back to the authority at some point on that to make sure that we're meeting the broadband's authority's expectation, or supervisor's expectations, and our community's expectation, while at the same time, you know, managing the work of the county that is outside of broadband. So
You mean his day job?
Thank you, Becky. Yeah,
Donna?
just teeing that up for a later conversation.
Thank you, and thank you, Bucky. And following up on what Trevor just said, um, I think one of the things that we have all learned through this pandemic is the necessity of access to the internet is as essential to daily life as is running electricity, water, and sewage. We face great uncertainty as to what the finances for next year are going to be, given the still as yet unsettled economic impact of the pandemic. But it's very obvious, and again, following up with what Trevor just said, that the county is well aware that we need to continue to do more. And I know that Senator Warner is sponsoring legislation that would be somewhat equivalent to the 1936 Rural Electrification Act. We all know that a lot of time is going to be required in order to build out the infrastructure that we need, but it is evident, if not previously understood, how essential this is. Children being educated at home, people working from home. And I'd also say I'm very proud of what Albemarle's Broadband Authority has done. I think we have achieved remarkable success in comparison with other communities in the state. And I think we will do well, but I do want to make a public statement. We recognize how essential this is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Very good. Then we'll move on to matters from the public. Do we have anyone on the public side who's entered a chat, Mike? Mike, you're on mute.
So yes, we have Q&A as well as chat to monitor. And I'd like to read in Erica DeVito, live past Whitehall on 810 in Browns Cove, Virginia. It was recommended that I come to this because of my poor internet. We get 8 megabits per second, probably down. Yet the houses prior to ours get 40 megabits per second. I have been relentless in contacting CenturyLink to get better service. Our line to the house is more than 23 years old. I have called the FCC, Governor Northam's office, and the Attorney General's office. I completely support virtual learning, but it does not work with internet speeds like this. So that's our first public comment.
Mike,
I
we
have a
have
suggestion. Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead, Bucky.
please.
Go ahead, Waldo.
Erica, in my own interactions with CenturyLink about my own home, I have had the most luck when I have gone via the State Corporation Commission. On the State Corporation Commission's website, they have a feedback form for people who wish to make complaints about their phone provider or their internet service provider. When I have done that twice now, I've gotten quick results. I'm not saying that this unless you get your problem fixed. And in my case, it got quick results. Erica mentions that she's done that with the FCC. So I've never contacted the FCC, but I know that the State Corporation Commission is one way to get things done that I've had luck with. What it may not help with is if fundamentally the lines need to be replaced. I don't think even the State Corporation Commission, unfortunately, has that sort of authority over CenturyLink. I wish that they did. But anyway, I would do that. And by the way, if you get results from that, or even if you don't get results from that, that would be great to hear about.
Mike, we have some contact information from CenturyLink. Perhaps you can get Erica's information and send her that pathway.
I was laughing at Erica's comment because I'm relating so firmly to what she's writing in her comments.
Yes, Erica, I'll put my contact information in the chat. So certainly, please, if you want to send me your email, phone number, I'll help you with another way to work with CenturyLink with our government affairs representative. And the link to the SEC form as well. We do send that out on a frequent basis. So just so that you are aware, you're not the only person who's reporting challenges with working with CenturyLink as a privately held company. So it's a challenge. They're not designated as a utility. So that's how it goes. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Do we have anything else from the public side? I'm looking, I don't see anyone else.
Oh, Tim Higgins. Is this the right way to roll with it? Yes, I'll keep reading these into the record. So this message is from Tim Higgins. Hi all, comment and question. Comment, I've been trying to get quotes from Comcast and CenturyLink for Mallard Lake internet service upgrade options. I'm using the contact people Mike provided. Comcast took about a month to respond and the process is still ongoing. CenturyLink has yet to respond. I know ABBA is focused on bringing service to areas that have none, but those of us trying to improve service, i.e. get better than 3 megabits per second download, need help too. Can anything be done to help those of us trying to work directly with service providers to improve neighborhood service? And then the second question, are there any county or state laws prohibiting local governments from starting internet services? That question comes from Tim Higgins, Mallard Lake in Earlysville. So
well, let me pick up the last part of that question. The specific part of the state code under which the Broadband Authority was created is the part that allows broad authorities such as this one to own and operate internet services and offer those to people in their areas. Our county decided that it didn't really want to be in the internet business. We'd like private companies to be doing that. So our purpose is not to own and operate internet services. Our purpose is to connect state, local, and federal funding with providers in our area and to try and make sure that we get services provided to all the areas in the county that need them, which is all the areas in the county. And some have no connections at all, some have poor connections, such as you've described, and some folks have great connections. But that's what we're trying to do. With the first part of your question, Mike, let me turn to you. Do you have any other suggestions that we can use for how to better work with these providers?
trying to get quotes from Comcast. One way to help, and this is for everyone on the line, is sometimes it's not appropriate to send me information, but I can help by, if there's data that shows that you asked for a quote and you're still waiting for it, that helps me. I can call them, but it's more applicable, or it helps my case if I have the information that was sent to them. So whether it's Comcast, CVIC, Firefly, CenturyLink, whomever you're asking for direct support from or quotes from, just let me know when the request was made, and that helps me get to them better. So that's what I would offer for that. The other thing that we've seen success with is the coordination, and most people know that there are multiple success stories of people putting funds together as an HOA or an LLC. So that's another option that we are able to talk with you about if you have questions about kind of coordinating and bringing together a group of people, if that helps. Okay.
I'd like to mention something in response to that question as well. Just that, Tim, I am suspicious that we're not going to get where we need to get, and I've talked about this at past board meetings, so this isn't news to everybody else, that we're going to get where we need to get by continuing our current approach of just providing grants to ISPs and saying, please expand your work. And I'll just say I'm interested medium term in figuring out how the county can build out a middle mile work in order to lease to ISPs so that it's possible to have competition. One of the problems that we have is at best, people have the choices of Comcast and CenturyLink, which is great, but in most of the county, it's really just CenturyLink. And it is difficult to compete. If you have to build infrastructure clear out into the county, the cost of acquiring new customers is really expensive. So I am interested in medium term and figuring out how Albemarle County could extend that fiber out into rural areas itself, and then allow ISPs to lease the use of that, and then build just the last mile instead of having to build clear out there. This is not something that'll happen soon. Soon though, I just want to say, Tim, that I am absolutely sympathetic, and I do think that we'll probably have to modify the approach that we're taking with the passage of time.
Okay, is there anything else? Looks like we've got one more here. Mike, you want to read the last Q&A in?
Well, yes. Tim has entered in a follow-up that says, will that decision for Albemarle County to not get into broadband service providing be revisited at any point? So I think Waldo answered that question, right?
Yeah, Waldo wants to do that, and
also it's up to the Board of Supervisors. Like,
right.
We don't have the authority to do that.
Right.
They would have to reconsider our mission to be able to do that.
Yes.
And I will say that the Board of Supervisors, that's a huge amount of money that's very difficult for the board to come up with, given all the other things that have to be funded. So just to add that.
And I would concur with Supervisor Palmer. And the other thing is the expense of updating equipment is so substantial. Not opposed to looking at any solution, but there are industries that are best positioned to be able to economically achieve things. I would be very cautious about the county taking on that sort of a financial obligation.
Okay, another question has come in. So I'll read it into the record. This one is from Ryan Ligon. And Ryan states, looking at moving to the area, James River Road near Chestnut Grove Road in the Samuel Miller District. I have spoken to CenturyLink and know about the efforts underway there, but I had no luck with Firefly CVEC. Do you have any idea of when they are expanding to that area as an alternative to CenturyLink?
Do we have any idea of the timetable there?
I'm pretty sure Chestnut Grove is outside of anything we've looked at, quite frankly, but I guess Mike would know best.
Yeah, the best place to go is to either the CVEC Firefly, mycvec.com, or Firefly Fiber Broadband. I think it's fireflyva.com to check their schedules. If you are a CVEC member, that's the best place to go. If you're a Dominion customer, that you can also ask CVEC Firefly from that website whether or not they're planning to move in the Dominion or Rappahannock or even Appalachian AEP power location. So just as a way to get more information about where CVEC and Firefly are taking their service next, the best place to go is to one or the other website. Thanks for that question, Ryan.
Thanks, Mike. Do we have anything else? I don't see anything else.
Yeah, I should
So
check that email.
let's move on to the next agenda item. I've got the approval of the August 26, 2020 minutes. Bill circulated these. Thank you very much, Bill. Has everyone had a chance to review them? Has anyone provided you with any updates, Bill, that we should know about?
No updates.
I'd like to move to accept these minutes as they are written. Is there a second?
Second.
Very good. All those in favor, let me run through my list again. Liz?
Yes.
Donna?
Aye.
Waldo?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes aye as well. Very good. Thank you very much, Mr. Fritz.
I'll try to stay on top of them.
You're doing a great job. They were great, easy to read.
Thanks.
Old business, item 6. We've got the body 2020 and 2021 updates. Mike?
2020 is still getting close to being under construction. No delays for a middle of March deadline for providing service. Some of the 8 projects will be offered service before that time. We don't have the details of each of those projects as they're still defining where they're going to place what are called their fiber terminals. So they're getting close to starting construction. So that was the latest information that came to me from CenturyLink to be submitted to DHCD as the monthly report for the prior month. So work is continuing there. We still receive a lot of questions about am I included? One of the things that I'm working with CenturyLink on to make that easier is hopefully a self-service type activity where a person can type in their address and it either says that yes, you're included or not, and potentially even shows the location on a map. So we're working on something like that. There's no promises. We're working directly with CenturyLink to try to figure out how to do that. The same is true with pre-ordering. So we're trying to make things easier for people to pre-order and get their orders in. So that's the next big thing on that. The CenturyLink 2021, we are still in the challenge process, which means by the end of the day today, by midnight, ISPs who have seen the applications, 53 of them, by the way, have the ability to go in and produce a challenge to DHCD. And then once that challenge is received by the partners, whether it's ABBA or CenturyLink or whomever, that the partners have 15 days to dispute the challenge and work out other things that can happen. So we will know hopefully by midnight. It may be sometime in tomorrow whether or not we have a challenge on any of our only application, I should say. We're hoping that we clear the challenge process. And then as we go forward, that this is the biggest project that we've requested funding for. It's the most money we've requested, and it's also the most money that the Broadband Authority through the Board of Supervisors has allocated to a CenturyLink project. $640,000 is tied of ABBA's money into this application. So getting the brass tacks, there's 2,322 locations that hopefully will be served if we're offered funds. I was on a meeting earlier this week where Evan Feynman indicated that announcements would be made by the end of the year. So sometime in late December is the current prediction. Now that could move into January because it is a governor's office announcement. But we're very looking forward to that happening. And then to bring everybody up to speed with the General Assembly, the Broadband Authority, in support of the governor's budget request to add an additional funding that would bring body up to $48 million for body 21. Currently, we stand at $19 million. To move it up to $48 million would do a lot for the Commonwealth. So we're very anxious to find out whether the budget request makes it out of both of the money committees and is pushed to the floor, and hopefully gets voted on as yes, because that'll open up the door for this type of big project. So that's my update. If you have any questions, I'm glad to try to answer them. And
Mike, let me jump in here with a question. I believe we are expecting a challenge to our proposal, which would affect how many of the residents in the proposed number?
the estimate is between 220 and 250 locations, maybe in a challenged area of our 2,300 plus. So we're not certain that's going to come in until we actually see it. So we're anxiously awaiting the outcome of some discussions that have happened, hopefully in a positive vein, but we'll get there.
Mike, are you able to show that on your screen? Are you able to share that with us on your screen, this project?
Yes, I can
Thank you.
try. Give me a minute. It might take me, maybe there's some further discussion while I work through that.
Liz, do you want to see all the project areas, or what specifically do you want to see?
Usually we have a table that has the project areas and the number of houses. So I was
Okay.
just looking for that table, thinking that maybe that
Okay.
would be a good thing to put up on the screen for this public meeting. But
Okay.
if it's too difficult, I understand.
No, it's definitely in my large collection of files. I know exactly which one you're looking for. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I'm taking a little too much time, so I would ask if we could move to
Okay,
something else
okay.
while I look at it. I've brought up one thing already that's not the correct file. I apologize for that, but
It's okay.
I could go directly to DHCD, which is where I'm going to go now, where the application is. So that'll help, I think. So.
Yeah, all of the other applications are posted out on the DHCD website in addition to ours. It makes for an interesting read if you're having a hard time falling asleep. But beyond that, you also see that the needs and the approaches are very different in very different counties around. Ours, to me, seemed like a very solid approach and a very solid proposal. Some of them looked like people applying for the first time, trying to get, trying to understand what they were doing. So, but a lot of them looked like they had learned from our previous experience and looked a lot like our proposals. So,
Yes.
folks are catching on quick. More money will help us a lot because it'll increase our chances dramatically.
Yes, I agree with the chair. And I'm getting closer by the minute. Although this table, because of the way it got formatted in the application, is not going to be exactly what you're asking for, Supervisor Palmer.
Mike, let me ask you to take as a to-do after this meeting to send that little one-page summary to Liz, or send it to the whole board, and that way we've got that information handy. And let's march on.
Okay.
Because you're the next thing on the agenda as well, and we really don't have anything else to do until you're available.
Okay. Yeah.
So that
Well,
takes
it's
us
here.
to
I
item
mean,
B, the CARES Act and CRF update discussion.
okay, and then I found the table, which will help. But CARES Act has become a real time consumer on my part. I think it's important for the Broadband Authority to recognize that there's a lot of information that's being requested of me on multiple fronts, and I think the board members should be aware that there's numerous emails coming in. We have made the decision and have received approval to bring on additional support that is funded through the CRF funding that allows some additional help to kind of better organize my work and take on some of the CRF related projects only. So outside of the scope of VADI and other things, John Noreen, who's a EMT with the North Garden and the Crozet volunteer stations, is going to be and is helping me already with some of these larger and small CRF type projects. So I just wanted to make everyone aware that that is now an official role for John, and he's helping me with a number of different things that'll keep me more focused on the more ABBA related projects. So I just wanted to put that out there so that everyone recognizes the challenges that we're going through right now and the fact that we've got some additional help. And that's all I had.
Discussion?
Any discussion, concerns? People have other ideas on how to utilize CRF. We're always open for new ideas, ways to get things better for our community.
Okay, hearing none.
I can share my screen now if we want to look through the chart that Supervisor Palmer asked for.
Oh, now we're all dying to see it again. Go ahead.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, yes. So this is what I meant about the chart. The way the application looks, it made our columns look funny, but you can see through the table itself the number of homes that will be passed. Obviously, this has been a big concern. Campbell and Cobham, that's around the Stony Point area. The bulk of the new service passings or the available locations for fiber to the home. That's the other thing we need to recognize, is that we've got to work on the areas where there is the most need. And this particular one gives a good example of that. Sorry, I don't have the column headers here. That would certainly help. But I'm just walking through. So the FHDs are the number of huts and things that will be provided. So you can see there's 6 different locations of new equipment. And then the MDTs are the number of the fiber terminals that I talked about. So these fiber terminals will serve multiple residences. So it's just this is initial planning on how much will show up there. New electronics, that usually this is a 1-to-1 match. Sometimes they're just putting equipment out there that includes the electronics. So I'm just going through the table footers here. And then the fiber footage, the total mileage is included in this as well. There are other tables which we can provide that show the cost breakdown. So there's some additional information that may be of interest to the Broadband Authority. So I hope this answered Supervisor Palmer's question. And I appreciate the time to show this to the community at large. It's all available at the dhcdvirginia.gov/body, BATI. And you can see all the applications out there, all 53 of them.
Hey, Mike, also note, I looked at the status report that you sent to the Broadband Authority earlier today via email for the Board of Supervisors. That link is included in that report.
Yes.
So go to the board, and it will also be out in public domain as well.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. I just thought the people on the call, the public, would like to very much kind of get an idea of what they look like, what those projects look like.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the time to find it. I wish I would have found it more quickly. But anyway, there you go.
And I'm pretty sure that once again, this will bypass all of the Broadband Authority members, and none of us get better service out of this deal. It's just something to work on for the future. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Yes, sir. I'll stop my share now.
Thank you. Can we go on to new business then? The ABBA financial report. Should I call on our treasurer for that, Trevor?
So we have an agenda item for it. I wanted to, I'd hope to be prepared to reveal a report that's in a format. I don't think that at least since my involvement in the board, there's been any kind of formal documentation related to our budget. So I've been working with Mike and one of his analysts to develop that report. We looked at it earlier this week. It wasn't quite ready for prime time. There's some tweaks that we're making to it so that it can track the county's money, the money that has been appropriated via the board that we're using as our match, but then also being able to pull in the ISP that we're working with, what their contribution is, and then also in some cases being able to track what our actuals are and what our billings are, as well as on the revenue side. So I will ask for a little bit of grace on this one. I think we'll have it in good shape for next week, and I really think it'll be a report that is valuable to the authority to track where the money is, what our kind of what we've spent, what's in the forecast, and all that. So that would be my report for the moment.
Trevor, I'd love to see that as a regular agenda item on every meeting.
I agree. I felt like that was lacking, and that's something that I think in my role I can help efforts to make that a little more formal.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Any questions for Trevor? Okay. The ABBA third quarter calendar year 2020 report to the Board of Supervisors. Mike circulated that to the board this afternoon. I'm sure you've all read it, thoroughly responded with your comments back to Mike. But Mike, I suspect you want to make sure people know you'd like to get comments back on it.
Yeah, there's a timing issue here. My challenge is to meet the clerk's office ability to put the full board agenda out. I was targeting Friday. I think we have a little more time than that. I mean, it's not as comprehensive this time as I would have liked it to be. I think it covers the main target areas that we've been working on. So I feel confident it will be a valuable information item only for the Board of Supervisors. So more on a quality control, have I missed anything major, and then help me with wordsmithing, or if there's some additional changes, if we could somehow, roll through it. I think it's only 3 or 4 pages long, which is generally the length of the report in most cases. So,
Mike, I did look at it, and I can send this to you electronically, but the only suggestion I would make, I think it looks great, is maybe add a little more detail to the funding that's coming in through CARES, that is kind of coming in through the work with the authority. I know there's other CARES Act funding that's technology related that is more kind of in the internal operations of the county, but maybe just detail that a little bit, and potentially mention, bringing on John to help manage that work through the end of the calendar year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it looks great. I think having links to to source documents, it's good information for the board and for the community.
I wish I could say we're on our way to full coverage across the entire county. That's when I feel like I have the best report ever that the Board of Supervisors has ever seen. I'm on, that's my target. I think that should be the Broadband Authority's target too. It's
do ourselves out of a job. That's always been the goal.
Yes. Yeah.
Trevor, Mike, the only thing that I had was the idea of a running tally of the projects that we've done over the years, and either I don't know if we want to do that in the quarterly report or just once a year in the annual report, but just to say that the 2021 has 2,300, 2020 has 837, the CVEC is 33,000.
Yeah, I might, I think, yes.
Show progress.
I have a source for that progress, and I will,
Okay.
I like the idea, Bill. I will definitely take advantage of that source.
Thanks.
And include it. Yeah.
You're
Great idea.
You're going to stick with the Friday deadline to get feedback from us?
Yeah, sure enough.
Okay. Very good. Anything else on that? Mike, anything else from you?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay. Well, that ends the bulk of this virtual meeting. We've got a small closed session matter to take up, so I'm going to have to let everybody go. Richie provided me with a closed meeting motion. Should I run with that?
I think they'll be fine, yeah.
Okay. I move that the Albemarle County Broadband Authority go into a closed meeting as authorized by the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, Section 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia, under subsection 6, to discuss and consider the investment of public funds for broadband deployment within a public utility service area in the county where bargaining is involved and where, if made public initially, would adversely affect the financial interest of the authority and Albemarle County, and subsection 29, to discuss and consider the award of public contracts involving the expenditure of public funds and discussion of the terms or scope of such contract, where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the authority's bargaining position or negotiating strategy. And subsection 39, to discuss and consider information subject to the exclusion in subdivision 3 of Virginia Code section 2.2-3705.6 related to economic development, such information being confidential proprietary information. Specifically, the authority will discuss and consider potential future broadband development partners and terms of partnership with Firefly, Comcast, Verizon, Shentel, CenturyLink, BRWS successor in interest, and any other broadband service provider willing to expand broadband access to Albemarle County residents and businesses, and existing and future contracts with CenturyLink. Is
Second?
there a second? Yeah, thank you, Liz. Any discussion on that? Then we'll move it to a vote by the roll call. Liz?
Yes.
Donna?
Aye.
Waldo?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes aye as well. So we will move to a closed session. Mike, if you'd stop recording, and
Yep.
attendees, thanks very much for coming, but we're going to have to let you go at this time.
Okay, so I'm pausing recording and removing the attendees that are on my list, and we'll let you know when we're.
Now we'll send me a message saying the recording back on. So Alan, this is for you.
We are now recording. I guess we have to certify the closed session, right, Richie?
Yes, I have a motion
right.
to that effect, closed meeting certification. I move that the Broadband Authority certify by recorded vote that to the best of each director's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and identified in the motion authorizing the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting. And I'll call the roll on this.
Do you have to have a second?
Oh, sure. How about Liz? Liz, would you like to second that?
Yes, I second that.
Thank you.
Gotta keep
And
you
Liz, how do
straight.
you vote?
Yes. Aye.
Very good. Donna?
Aye.
Waldo?
You're muted, Waldo. Waldo's frozen.
Uh-oh.
Waldo, how do you vote? You're muted, Waldo. Yes, there we go. Thank you. I saw his thumb uplifted. Trevor?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes aye as well. I believe that ends our agenda.
Ricky
Anything else we
or
need to talk about? Yes, Bill?
yes, Ricky or Bucky, could you email me those motions to go in and to come out?
I'll do it.
Thank you.
Is there anything else we need to do? Then I thank you all very much for your time. And I'll accept a motion to adjourn. Donna said so moved. I read her lips.
Second.
And Liz seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Good afternoon, good evening.
Thank
and
you
good
all.
night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Aye.